I say to people, I make furniture in Irish hardwoods, and they ask me, does Ireland have hardwoods? I work with oak, ash, elm and yew, beech, sycamore, holly, all the timbers that you'll find growing locally. They would all be temperate hardwoods. The softwood timbers are more commercial and less of a challenge to work with. It's not fair to say they're less beautiful, but less of a challenge, and they're less durable. Oak has an enormous tradition in rural furniture and in church furniture, boat building and all kinds of things. A good craftsman in wood will understand the abilities of the material, abilities of wood, and will be able to maximise its potential, making use of its strength, making use of its visual qualities, and hopefully you'll gain a piece that will stand the test of time.
I was brought up in a house where my father had done little carvings when we were being born and things like that. And around the house you would have these carvings. So there's a mystery attached to objects like the panel here that he had bought in a junk shop in Lurgan or somewhere like that. The actual wood, the solidity of it, the way it caught the light, and how expressive you could make an inanimate object. How you could make it describe something was intriguing. People relate to folk art. People make folk art. In the H-Block prison, men were carving crosses and emblems out of bits of timber, out of bits of plastic. People can't stop themselves making things for themselves. I share that.
I've chosen to work in wood mainly because I like working by hand, working with hand tools, and that's one of the reasons as well why you would use the pole lathe as opposed to an electric lathe, because it's totally manual. Well, the pole lathe really is a very ancient machine. It dates back to, well, the Egyptians used it, the Romans used it, back to the Iron Age. And it's still used a lot in the developing world. Because you have to use green wood on a pole lathe, it's straight from the tree. You are literally making something from a log. If you're making a balustrade, a spindle, it's a log straight into a piece of furniture or a wooden item.
If I see a particular feature in a piece of wood, I might actually follow that, or I might use it to enhance the piece, and which you don't have that freedom when you're working with materials like concrete. You can mould concrete, or you can shape or bend steel or whatever, but it's still a piece of steel. I like to be making something which is a wee bit different and gives me pleasure making it. The sort of finishes that I'm using in these, it takes me an awful lot longer to make these pieces. If I was making these things commercially, you know, to big orders, you would never be able to do it. And it just doesn't really interest me to be able to, you know, to want to do that. The majority of mass-produced furniture is stained. Manufacturers will stick with the one manufacturer of stain so that their furniture is the same colour year in, year out. Everything has to be exactly the same. Whereas the colour of the piece that I make is really just dependent on the colour of the wood. There's no pieces I make this year are going to look the same next year because they will darken down. It looks like a dog's dinner when you do the first shaping, and then you sand it and sand it and sand it, and then you can start to see the colours and you can feel it getting smoother. And then when you pour the oil on, when the colour comes out of it, it's just unbelievable.
You have a lot of passion about what you're doing, you have a lot of enjoyment when it turns out right, you have a lot of anger sometimes when it doesn't turn out right and you have to start again, but that happens all the time. But when the finished product is what you want and you know, you enjoy it. Woodwork in school has changed so much. I mean, my son comes home and his first project he came home was plastic. And I was disgusted because when I was at school we carved elephants, I made coffee tables and we made ice trays, but it was all using your hands and using wood. Nowadays it's all technology and it's different. It's not, to me there's not the same feeling in it. There can't be.
Can't hold it there.
Morning, can I go with you, can I?
That's okay. Put your support. That's it now. That's it.
Young people today, unfortunately for them, I think they're pretty much steered away from going near the building trade or going near trades in general. In school, they're taking the kids who are bright and that all pushed towards computers. But I mean, a computer can't put the roof in your house and can't hang the doors in your house. It'll never do that. I think it's a pity that there's not enough of them who are out there working with their hands and enjoying it.